The most immediate and potent response to disrespect is also the most counterintuitive in a world that screams for reaction. For loud justifications and emotional confrontations, the true power lies in the opposite direction. The first and most crucial silent move is the unbothered withdrawal. This is not an act of petulance or a strategy designed to manipulate a specific outcome. It is a calm, final, and decisive decision to reclaim your most valuable assets, your attention, your energy, and your presence. Imagine your spirit, your focus, and your time as a brilliant, radiant light. This light is what you offer in any relationship. It is warmth, it is insight, it is companionship, it is value. When someone consciously chooses to disrespect you, they are not merely uttering harsh words or performing a single negative action. On a metaphysical level, they are making a conscious decision to step out of that light. They are choosing to stand in the shadow. The natural, instinctual reaction is to follow them into that darkness, to argue with them about why they left the light, to plead with them to come back, to try and illuminate the very space they have chosen to abandon. This is a futile expenditure of your energy. You are arguing over a shadow. The unbothered withdrawal is the simple, profound act of refusing to follow. It is you silently gathering your light and turning away. It is the immediate cessation of all that was once freely given. The texts that used to bring comfort stop. The invitations that were once extended cease. The emotional availability you offered is revoked. You do not announce this departure with a grand speech. You simply enact it. You become a ghost of what once was. Initially, the person who disrespected you might misinterpret this silence. They may perceive it as a temporary sulk, a dramatic pause before the inevitable negotiation and reconciliation they expect. They prepared for a battle. They have a quiver full of counter-arguments, justifications, and perhaps even more dismissive remarks. But your silence gives them nothing to fight against. Their arrows hit empty air. This is where the psychological shift begins. The initial relief they might have felt at provoking a reaction curdles into confusion. Then that confusion morphs into a low-grade anxiety. The vacuum you created by your absence begins to exert its own pressure. Human nature abhors a vacuum. In the void of your silence, the only thing left is the echo of their own actions. Without your voice to argue with, without your pain to analyze, without your anger to deflect, they are left alone in a quiet room with the consequences of their behavior. There is no distraction from the reality of what they have done. This is where their mind, not yours, begins to do the work. It will race to fill the silence with its own narratives. Is he really done? Did I go too far? Why doesn't he care? This internal interrogation is the birthplace of genuine regret. It is not a regret you forced upon them through accusation. It is a regret they cultivate themselves in the fertile ground of your absolute silence. You have not given them a villain to fight. You have given them a mirror to look into. And that is a far more terrifying and effective consequence. The unbothered withdrawal isn't about winning an argument. It's about ending the conversation entirely on your own terms, leaving them with a haunting, silent question of what they truly lost. In the wake of disrespect, a lesser man collapses inward. His world shrinks to the size of the slight, and his energy becomes a feedback loop of pain, anger, and rumination. He becomes a monument to the hurt he received. But this is the exact opposite of the path that forges regret. The second silent move is the antithesis of collapse. It is the relentless focus on your mission. This is the conscious, disciplined decision to transmute the negative energy of the experience into the pure, high-octane fuel for your own ambition and purpose. This move is deeply internal and personal at its core. It begins with a fundamental realization your value and your trajectory in life are not, and can never be, determined by how another person treats you. Their disrespect is a reflection of their own character, not a verdict on yours. Therefore, the most powerful response is not to contest their false verdict with words, but to invalidate it entirely with action. You must channel the confusion, the frustration, and even the pain, and pour it directly into the pillars of your existence. The gym becomes your sanctuary, a place where pain is transformed into strength, where frustration is hammered into discipline. Your career or craft becomes your focus, a domain where ambition burns away doubt and output drowns out noise. Your personal goals, your intellectual pursuits, your spiritual growth become your obsession. This is not done for her benefit. It is an act of profound self-preservation and self-respect. You are choosing to invest in the one person you are guaranteed to spend the rest of your life with yourself. You are declaring to your own soul that this event will not break you, it will forge you. You are choosing construction over deconstruction. However, this intense private focus has an undeniable and powerful public-facing consequence. While she may expect to see you diminished, sidelined, and languishing in the aftermath of her actions, she is instead met with glimpses of a man who is not just moving on, but leveling up. This evidence rarely comes from direct contact, which you have already severed. It comes through the inevitable social osmosis, through mutual friends who mention in passing your new promotion, your visible physical transformation, or the new venture you're launching. It comes from the digital footprint of a life well lived, not a staged, fake display of happiness, but authentic updates showcasing genuine progress and achievement. This is where the silent message is delivered with devastating clarity. Your visible success communicates that her disrespect was not a derailment, but a mere catalyst. It was not an obstacle that stopped you, but a gust of wind you caught in your sails. She is then forced to sit with a deeply uncomfortable cognitive dissonance. She has to reconcile the image of the man she thought she could diminish and walk over with the reality of the man who is now scaling new heights precisely because pushed him away. She is compelled to ask herself the haunting questions. Did I completely misread him? Was there a strength there I failed to see? Did my attempt to belittle him only serve to propel him forward? Your progress becomes the silent, undeniable rebuttal to her disrespect. It proves your value was never up for debate. By focusing relentlessly on your mission, you become a living, breathing testament to your own worth. And that is a truth that echoes far longer and louder than any angry word or pleading argument ever could. Force is a regret, not of guilt, but of profound miscalculation. Life is not always a clean break. Social circles overlap. Mutual friends have gatherings and chance encounters happen. It is in these moments of unavoidable proximity that the third silent move is executed with surgical precision, becoming a fortress of emotional unavailability. This is not about being cold, rude, or dripping with visible contempt. Those are all emotional reactions. They are simply on the negative end of the spectrum. Anger, bitterness, and coldness still show that you are emotionally invested. They prove that the person still has a hook in you. The goal is not to show negative emotion, but to show no emotional charge whatsoever. This move is the mastery of the impenetrable calm. It is the cultivation of a neutral, polite, utterly unreadable demeanor. When you cross paths, you offer a brief, acknowledging nod or a simple, polite greeting like hello. If circumstances force an interaction, you engage in the same way you would with a casual acquaintance or a colleague you barely know, surface, level, impersonal, and breezy. You can discuss the weather, a neutral current event, or a bland observation about the venue. You are pleasant, but you are a closed book. Your eyes do not hold a flicker of hurt. Your voice does not carry a tremor of anger. Your posture does not betray any tension. You are a sphinx, a fortress with the drawbridge permanently raised. Why is this so powerful? Because the person who disrespected you is, on some level, seeking an emotional payoff. They are prepared for the drama. They have braced for your anger, which would validate their own narrative of you being too sensitive or aggressive. They are perhaps even hoping for a glimpse of your sadness or hurt, which would feed their ego and confirm that they still hold power over your emotional state. Your utter, unbreakable neutrality denies them this entire payoff. It robs them of the climax to the story they wrote in their head. You refuse to play your assigned role in the drama. This is terrifying for them. They are left standing there, their intended provocation lying useless at their feet, completely disarmed. They are confronted not with the reactive person they expected, with a polite, impenetrable stranger. This communicates one of the most final and devastating messages possible. You no longer have access to me. Your emotional world, your inner life, your vulnerabilities, these are now privileged territories, and their visa has been permanently revoked. You have made your soul a foreign country to them, and you speak a language they no longer understand. This forced distance is more isolating for them than any heated argument. An argument is still a form of intense, intimate engagement. Your calm neutrality is the emotional equivalent of a firewall. It signals that their actions have so thoroughly severed the connection that they are not even worth the energy of a negative reaction. You are not ignoring them, you are deeming them irrelevant to your emotional ecosystem. This forces them to sit in the quiet, unsettling reality of what they have truly lost, not just your affection, but any and all access to the person you are. It makes the consequence of their disrespect feel absolute and permanent. They are left with the chilling realization that they have been demoted from a central character in your story to a mere extra in the background. And your unwavering calm is the directorial cue that their scene is over forever. In the aftermath of disrespect, a common and destructive impulse is to wage a campaign of deconstruction, to badmouth, to lobby mutual friends, to detail the grievance to anyone who will listen, to tear down the person's reputation in an attempt to make them share in your misery. This is a catastrophic error. It not only keeps you tethered to the drama and the pain, but it also reflects poorly on you, painting you as bitter, vengeful, and unable to move on. The fourth silent move is the exact opposite. It is not deconstruction, but construction. It is the quiet elevation of your circle, and it functions as a silent yet brutal audit of her character and her choices. This strategy begins with a simple, profound decision. You will not speak ill of her. You will not actively try to turn people against her. In fact, you will refuse to discuss the situation at all, deflecting with a calm, "I'd rather not get into it, but I appreciate you," or a simple, "We just moved in different directions." This refusal to engage in gossip is not for her protection. It is for your own dignity. It immediately positions you as the more mature, emotionally regulated individual. It stops the story from defining you and prevents you from being cast as the vengeful ex. But the real power of this move lies in what you do next. Instead of trying to dismantle her world, you pour all that energy into building and fortifying your own. You intentionally and consciously invest in the people who have always shown you respect and value. You deepen your bonds with the friends who see your worth without needing an explanation. You schedule the trips, host the dinners, and strengthen the camaraderie with those who uplift you. Furthermore, you actively seek out and connect with new, ambitious, high-value individuals, people who are aligned with your mission and who recognize your character without the baggage of the past. You are not isolating her, you are simply upgrading your environment to match your own rising frequency. However, the social contrast this creates is undeniable. When she looks toward your world, and a part of her always will, she does not see you alone and ostracized. She sees you surrounded by laughter, respect, and genuine connection. She sees you being valued, celebrated, and supported by a high-quality social circle. She sees you at the center of a vibrant life that continues to grow and improve, a life that conspicuously does not include her. This acts as a silent, public audit of her judgment. Without you ever uttering a word of accusation, your thriving social circle passes a verdict. It demonstrates that the ability to form and maintain strong, respectful relationships was always within you. The failure was her choice to break one. Forces her to confront an uncomfortable possibility that the problem was not with you, but with her own inability to recognize and honor value. By showcasing the quality of people who do choose to stand by you, you implicitly question the quality of her judgment for choosing to leave. This can create a deep, lingering doubt within her and even among her allies. They may begin to wonder, if he's such a great guy to all these other people, what did she do to lose him? Your upgraded circle becomes the evidence in a case you never have to verbally argue. It is the living proof that you were not diminished by her exit, but liberated, and that liberation allowed you to find your true tribe. This realization that her departure merely made room for better is a profound and deeply regrettable one. The previous moves, the withdrawal, the focused ambition, the emotional fortitude, the elevated circle are not isolated actions. They are individual threads being woven together over time into a single, unbreakable tapestry. The fifth and ultimate silent move is the finished product, the unassailable piece of a life well lived. This is not a single action, but a state of being. It is the culmination of your discipline, the final silent truth that she cannot argue with, rationalize away, or diminish. It is the living, breathing epitaph to the relationship she chose to disrespect. Months later, when the initial sting has faded for everyone involved, this is the version of you that exists. You are not merely okay or over it. You have transcended that baseline. You are, by every visible and measurable metric, better. There is a palpable peace that surrounds you, a calmness in your demeanor that speaks of a battle fought and won within yourself. This is coupled with tangible success, the career milestone reached, the physical transformation achieved, the new skills mastered. Your social life is not a frantic attempt to fill a void, but a rich tapestry of genuine connections with people who respect and admire you. You carry yourself with the quiet confidence of a man who knows his worth because he has built it with his own hands, brick by brick. In the aftermath of being torn down, this visible, undeniable reality is the ultimate silent message. It is the final and most devastating rebuttal. It communicates without a single word spoken that her disrespect was not a catastrophic ending, but a necessary beginning. It was not a verdict on your value, but the catalyst that forced you to fully realize it. You become the living proof that the greatest revenge is not about making the other person suffer, but about becoming so profoundly happy and content that their presence or absence in your story becomes irrelevant. When she encounters this version of you, whether in person through stories or even just in her mind, the regret it triggers is of a different, deeper magnitude. It is no longer the simple regret of losing a comfortable relationship or the guilt of having caused temporary pain. This is the profound, soul-level regret of miscalculation. It is the humbling, gut-wrenching realization that she disrespected and consequently lost a man of immense substance, discipline, and silent power. She didn't just lose a boyfriend, she lost a king. And she has to live with the irrevocable knowledge that she was the one who willingly, perhaps arrogantly, gave away the crown. Your unassailable peace forces her to confront the permanent consequence of her actions. It is no longer about what she did in a single moment, but about who she lost in the grand scheme of her life. She is left to wonder about the future that could have been built alongside this evolved, powerful, and peaceful man. Your happiness becomes the ghost at her feast, the constant, quiet reminder of her poor judgment. You never have to say, "I'm better off without you." Your life in its full, vibrant, and peaceful glory screams it for you. This is the silent move that echoes forever. It transforms you from the one who was left into the one who became the prize. And that is a truth that fosters a regret from which there is no recovery. The aftermath of disrespect often feels like a battle for narrative control. There is a powerful urge to state your case, to ensure mutual friends know your side of the story, to win the court of public opinion. This instinct, while understandable, is a strategic error. It keeps you engaged in the very drama you need to escape from and often paints you as bitter or desperate for validation. The sixth silent move is a masterclass in subtlety and perception management, the silent audit of her social circle. This is not about turning people against her. It is about demonstrating your own character so unequivocally that her actions come into question without you ever raising your voice. This strategy begins with a vow of silence regarding her and the circumstances of the split. You refuse to be the source of gossip or negativity. When asked, you offer a neutral, closed-ended response. I wish her the best, or we just grew apart, but I appreciate your concern. This immediate high road approach is disarming. It denies the drama oxygen and positions you as the mature, emotionally regulated adult in the situation. People are naturally drawn to grace under pressure, and this quiet dignity becomes your first unspoken argument. The true power of this move, however, lies in your proactive engagement with the shared social landscape. Instead of avoiding mutual friends for fear of awkwardness, you lean in, but with a specific and disciplined focus. You do not engage in conversations about her. Instead, you warmly reconnect with the people themselves. You remember their birthdays. You organize group outings. You ask about their lives, their jobs, their families. You show up as the same or even better version of the friend you always were. You become a pillar of positive, consistent energy within the group. This creates a stark and powerful contrast. You are actively building and reinforcing bonds based on positivity and mutual respect. Meanwhile, her actions have introduced an element of negativity and conflict into the same social circle. The group is silently, unconsciously conducting its own audit. They see your unwavering kindness and stability on one side and the drama and disruption stemming from her disrespect on the other. They are forced to reconcile the person you are, the reliable, respectful friend, with the narrative her actions might be trying to create. Without you uttering a single negative word, her allies may naturally begin to diminish. People are inherently drawn to peace and positivity and will subtly distance themselves from sources of chaos. By being a source of light, you allow others to see the shadows for themselves. They might start to question, if he's such a great guy to all of us, what really happened? Your impeccable conduct becomes a silent referendum on her character. You are not asking them to choose sides. You are simply being your best self and allowing the quality of that self to make the choice for them. This passive, unspoken judgment is far more powerful and lasting than any heated argument or plea for loyalty. It forces her to witness the erosion of her social capital, not because you attacked her, but because you simply and silently showcased a better way to be. The regret she feels is not just about losing you, but about potentially compromising her standing, all while you elevated yours through nothing but quiet, consistent character.